All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So first things first, I hope you're enjoying your Saturday. Tons of football on, right? I actually got the Chiefs Texans game going on here in the background, but we got the college football game. The college football playoff games. What else? Steelers Ravens later on today. I think that kicks off at 4:30. Man, tons of football on. Obviously tomorrow, tons of football on. It is a pretty exciting time. But in this one, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jon Gruden, right? My buddy sent me over a video on Instagram of Jon Gruden, who's currently with Barstool Sports. And here's Gruden again raving about the New York Jets. He actually said, I love the Jets. He talks about Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Quinn Williams, and just how even though this team is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, they're still fighting. They're still, out there trying to, go out and win football games. Trying to kind of play that spoiler type of role. And Gruden, he obviously an offensive guy, former head coach. You can just tell the respect level between Jon Gruden and Aaron Rodgers, right? He looks at Rodgers as, exactly what he is, which is a future first ballot Hall of Famer. And it gets Gruden, you can just tell it gets him excited thinking about that. Then you start factoring in the other pieces, like he mentioned, Devontae Adams, Quinn Williams, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. It is like if you're just purely looking at this team from a talent or name perspective, and you're not a Jets fan, you're not a Jets coach, you're not a Jets front office member, you're just from afar. You're looking at the roster, and if you're a confident guy, you got to imagine that they're looking at the roster saying, man, there's so much talent there. There's so many guys that, we can, or I can make work. I mean, how many teams out there are doing more with less right now than the Jets? Tons of teams. There are tons of teams out there with better records, but worse rosters. It doesn't even really make sense. My buddy actually texted me yesterday, just this long paragraph. He's a diehard Jet fan. Long paragraph of just how disappointed he is in this team because of the amount of just talent and first round picks and just the overall star power that this team has and where we're at in the season, currently picking in the top 10. But anyway, back to Gruden, he has his own YouTube channel, and time again, he just continues to rave about this Jets team. And it's interesting because there's a subset of Jets fans that have been really pushing for Jon Gruden to get a head coaching look, a head coaching interview with the Jets. Clearly, the Jets need some sort of direction. And if you're just purely looking at facts, right, purely looking at the Jets maybe wish list or checklist that they want in their next guy, just using common sense here, Gruden, again, from a factual standpoint, checks a lot of those different boxes, whether it's him being an offensive guy, whether it's him being able to work with quarterbacks really throughout the course of his head coaching career, whether it's him having that head coaching experience, having a Super Bowl championship. But it goes a little further than that, right? Because I think when we're talking about the New York Jets specifically over maybe other teams that need a head coach like the New Orleans Saints, potentially Jacksonville Jaguars, the Jets are a big market team. I mean, we know the perception. We know what the ownership is like. We know that this team has some questions and that there's this sense of pressure when it comes to accepting the Jets job or the Giants job, or really any big market team. Dallas is another one. There is that, hey, we got to see some wins here. And of course, it doesn't help that the Jets have this long playoff drought. But the point that I'm getting at here is you kind of expect the Jets to try to bring in someone with a big enough personality in a good way to maybe fend off the media, fend off Woody Johnson, someone who can step into a room, command the room, and create leadership and culture. And I think when we're just talking about Jon Gruden, just living in this hypothetical world, right? Jon Gruden becoming the Jets head coach, could he not necessarily stand up to Woody Johnson, but could he tell Woody, no, we're not doing that. Look, I've been around the game. I've coached the Raiders. I've coached the Bucks. I've went back to the Raiders. That does not work. That does not fly. I've been around this before, and we're not going down that path again. And I also think that Woody would make there would be that kind of natural respect level for someone who has a ring, someone who has been, an NFL head coach for years. It's not like it was a 2-3 year stint and he just flamed out quickly. Gruden is a guy with a lot of wins under his belt. If you're just trying to connect the dots here, we know Gruden wants to get back into coaching. We've seen his name pop up over and over again, like linking him to different jobs, not from like a serious matter, like he's taking, head coaching interviews, but it just seems like there's that initial buzz that's starting to grow. And I will say this about Gruden. The good thing about Gruden right now is that he's not with the team. And if you're a fan that wants Rex Ryan, you can make this same exact argument. You can, again, theoretically speaking, if you're Woody Johnson, if you're Rick Spielman, Mike Tannenbaum, Chris Johnson, you can pick up the phone and get Jon Gruden in for an interview today. You can do that. There's no penalties from the NFL. Jon Gruden, on his side, can have a fully built staff to where he can do all the legwork behind the scenes, have everybody in place to where once he meets with the head, think about staff construction, right? Especially for the first year head coaches, Liam Cohen, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson. There's going to be an interview process that takes place. Then there's going to be the wave of second and potentially third interviews. Then they announce the hiring. Then you got to deal with, the presser and, all the media stuff that comes with accepting the job. And then you start building the staff. If the Jets can talk to Gruden or Rex now, they have that leg up. They can fully build the staff, unless, of course, they want to pluck guys from NFL rosters. But they can, have that framework, have a good idea on who they're going to bring in, or already have verbal handshakes with coaches that are currently out there. Maybe pluck guys from the college level, right? Like a Wink Martindale for DC if you want him. So I thought it would be a cool topic to bring up and talk about here because it just seems like there is a lot of Jon Gruden smoke here. Nothing, we haven't seen the Jets official account post anything about it. We haven't seen any official account post about it. But Gruden has definitely been talked about a lot. And again, what do we know? We know he's been a head coach. We know he's a Super Bowl champ. We know he's an offensive mind. We know he also has a big enough personality to step into the Jets locker room and say, hey, this job is not too big for me. I'm not going to sit here and get bullied from ownership. I'm not going to sit here and get bullied from media, let the organization or others force my hand into making specific decisions. No, this is my team. My team. Not many people get a fourth crack at being a head coach in the National Football League. So you got to imagine that, if someone like that has a chance to come back and be a head coach, they're going to hold on to that with a very strong grip and not take it for granted. But on the flip side, right, you can make an argument Jon Gruden would be a not so great hire. It's not like he had recent success with the Raiders. There was obviously, a reason why he was let go from the Raiders. You could surely make arguments against it. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on this. For me personally, I don't think Gruden is in my top 3 choices. One thing I'm interested in seeing, though, is what other franchises decide to fire their coach, fire their staff after the season ends, like on that Black Monday. Could we see the Giants let go of their staff? Could we see the Raiders let go of theirs? What's going to happen with Cincinnati? If they, disappoint, they have a chance to actually make the playoffs, even, despite all the losses. If they still come up short, do they move on from Zach Taylor? I would doubt it at this point because I don't think Brown is that Mike Brown is that reactionary as an NFL owner. But the point is, I think there's going to be some more guys that unfortunately get let go, which all of a sudden could pop up as potential options for the Jets moving forward, or members from that staff, that specific staff, could be added to the Jets' new staff. Former DCs, former OCs, QB coaches, things of that nature. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the football. And as always, go Jets.